Ryan Nicholls. I'm an assistant director here of emergency management for Washington University. I've been doing emergency management since about 2004. I moved up here 4 years ago, and I've been doing emergency management since 2014 here at the university. So my role was, I'm part of a team that goes and responds to local communities that are impacted by disaster. And I was a team leader for the Missouri support team, incident support team. And I lived close to Joplin. I was about an hour away, and I was good friends with my counterpart, the emergency management director out there. So he called me up shortly, about 20 minutes after the tornado hit, and asked that I bring the team. And so I called the team up, and we responded to the event and responded to their command center, I guess you could say there. We were there, probably by 8 o'clock that evening. The tornado hit around 5:41. We were there by 8, and with the team of about 20 of us, we worked in their command center for the first 11 days. Well, we got a lot of warnings several days out from the National Weather Service. They did a really good job to forecast a very severe event that could be coming. Then we started to see a lot of actions, and being in the Springfield, Missouri area, of course, I was watching storms for ours, but as we were watching the storms come in, we saw a lot of the radar indication over in the Joplin area. Then we started hearing some radio traffic that possibly they had been impacted by a tornado, and then Keith Stammer, the emergency management director, gave me a call shortly thereafter and gave me a very brief synopsis that they had, at that point he knew of about 24 fatalities, and he knew there was much more coming, and he asked for all the help he could get. So we loaded up and responded as quick as we could. Something of that scale, there's a lot you have to prioritize. There's a lot of first things you need to do, and so probably the best answer to that is it's always public safety. It's always life safety. That's what comes first. And how do you manage that in a very time efficient way? So when we arrived on scene, the first responders were obviously already in full action and responding to everything that they could as quickly as they could. So the job for our team was to help organize and manage the command center. We brought in supplemental staff. They were doing a phenomenal job. They just needed more people. They needed more hands-on. And so our first thing to address was life safety, and to try to get the calls that they knew of that were out there, that were outstanding, try to get resources to them. And so not only are you looking at all the issues going on, but then you have all the resources coming in from outside the region coming in to help. And you want to put one-to-one. You want to get all the people that need help and all the resources that can help them connected as quickly as possible. So we're trying to organize that as fast as we could while we're addressing life safety first. What was really unique about Joplin was not only the severity and the magnitude, but when it hit the hospital, and there's only 2 hospitals in Joplin, and they're neighbors, and fortunately, if you can call it fortunate, it only hit one of them and not both of them. But hitting that one hospital, the hospital took a direct impact, totally destroyed the building, and there were fatalities within the hospital, and it was unusable. And so now all of our medical resources, all of our medical needs were focused on one hospital who had lost power, where they were limited in what they had, but they stood up to the job, and they overperformed. They did a phenomenal job. All the staff came in, and we were able to send a lot of resources. A lot of the EMS field personnel were able to organize themselves and get the injured to the hospital and save a lot of lives. Basically, an EF5 is an estimated tornado over 200 miles an hour wind. And they judge that by, it's kind of the afterthought. After the tornado goes through, they look at the damage, and then they kind of judge how bad or how big was it. So an EF5 is the worst that they get. And so it has been known or recorded in some Oklahoma tornadoes, EF5, that they even reached up to 300 miles an hour. But Joplin was definitely over 200 miles an hour. And basically what you're looking at is anything on a concrete slab is wiped off. There's just nothing left. And that's the way Joplin looked. When you drove through the tornado area, if there was a tree left standing, it was only the bare branches. All the homes, all you saw really was the concrete slabs left. It was just, I'm not a veteran, but I can only imagine it was kind of like a war zone. It was just complete devastation. And when you saw people that have survived or just lost, one of the stories of a gentleman that helped us quite a bit was a 30-year postmaster. He had been a postmaster, a post mailman in the Joplin area for his entire career, and even he got lost in his own community because there's no road signs, there's no marking. Even when the road signs are gone, you kind of have your traditional markers where the buildings are, where the water tower may be, where all that is gone. And so you really are kind of at a loss of how do you start getting things back into order after you address the life safety first. And so that the EF5 is obviously the most devastating, the most destructive, but really you should take all tornadoes very serious. Any of them can cause injury and death. And so you want to be very serious and know what to do when those happen and respond quickly. Really the best thing for anyone to be able to do is, one, be able to receive a warning. They have to know when a threat is coming. And now with the technology that we have, with the smartphones that we have, it's fairly easy to always be able to receive warnings. So know how that you can receive warnings. And then the next step is know what to do when you receive that warning. Most commonly, if you're at home or at school, you have to have an idea in your mind, if this was to happen right now, where would I go? And so knowing that ahead of time helps quite a bit. In the past, we'd oftentimes, in my previous position, we would be the ones that activated the sirens to let people know there's a threat coming. And we often would get phone calls, people asking, what do I do? Where do I go? And that's not the time to be asking the question. You know, you want to be able to ask and answer that question well before the threat comes. And so we always recommend find where you're going to go. You want to go to the lowest, most interior spot in the building or wherever you're at. Seek refuge inside and put as many walls between you and the outside that you can. That's the basics of it. A little additional information, you might always want to try to avoid utilities, electrical systems, know how to turn off power, water to your home in case you get damaged and need to shut those off. So there's a lot of things you can do, but the very basic life safety thing to know is be able to receive the warning, and when it comes, what are you going to do about it?